Hare Krishna, everybody. So thank you all for joining. And thank you, Shyam Pandey Prabhu and Neil Madhav Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity to speak on Mother's Day. It's a little bit of an interesting thing that for the last 2-3 years, I've been thinking about Mother's Day and its significance in my own personal life, being a mother, having gone through the ups and the downs and the joys and the sorrows and the heartache and all that motherhood entails. It's very, very dear to my heart to speak on this very special day. So before I begin, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Mother's Day and talk about how Mother's Day is actually very integrally connected to our practice of bhakti, to our relationship with Krishna. And in my own self, I can say my own appreciation for Krishna. It is described that Krishna's love is like that of a million mothers. And so in my own journey as a spiritual practitioner, his mood as a mother, and especially when he appears as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he comes in this very specific mood of compassion, right? Extreme compassion. That's a mood that that has attracted me throughout my own personal journey in Krishna consciousness. At the same time, in trying to raise Nimai, our son, I have found myself feeling a deep sense of connection, a deep sense of purpose, as I connect my own sense of purpose in trying to raise, and as I have tried to raise Nimai, and with Krishna's purpose of creating this world. And my heart and his heart, right? The heart of a mother and the anxieties that she experiences in this journey is something that can never be intellectualized. It can never be understood unless one actually goes through that sense of anxiety, that sense of helplessness, that sense of dependence. I find this very interesting. For the longest time, this has been one of my personal meditation, seeing Krishna's relationship with the mothers, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam. If we see Krishna's appearance in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam when Ashwatthama releases the Brahmastra. But in reality, the appearance of Krishna in that particular pastime is actually connected to the tears of Draupadi. So Krishna's appearance in Srimad Bhagavatam really starts with wanting to pacify the tears of Draupadi, who is distraught because her 5 sons have been killed. And so Arjuna actually pacifies and tells her that he's going to avenge and he's going to bring to task or punish this this very wicked person who was the cause of killing, who had actually killed 5 of her sons. And that's when Krishna actually embarks on this chariot. So just like we see Krishna in Bhagavad Gita sitting on a chariot in order to protect his devotee Arjuna and the 5 Pandavas, in Srimad Bhagavatam also we see Krishna getting on a chariot, and that is how we are introduced to Krishna, the hero of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then it continues on. We see later, we see Uttara, right? She runs when a Brahmastra attacks her womb. Then she's completely distraught and she doesn't know who else to turn to. So she runs to Krishna. And it's one of my favorite prayers that I have often sung in my own moments of fear and desperation. So she cries out, she says, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, Deva Deva Jagatpate, Nanyam Tvad Abhayam Pashe, Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Sorry about that. So Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, O Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me. Protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. So this is the helpless cry of a mother calling out to Krishna for protection of her baby within the womb. In the same way, we see Kunti Devi also. She also calls out to Krishna in various times when she's faced with great difficulty. And in fact, in the purports, in the prayers of Queen Kunti, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna was actually very merciful to Queen Kunti, even more than he was to Devaki, who was his own mother, because Kunti Devi was actually completely helpless because she didn't even have a husband. So she was a single mother trying to raise 5 kids, surrounded by intrigue and so many different threats to the lives of to her own life as well as the lives of her children. So Krishna was particularly attentive to her struggles and to her service of trying to raise these 5 Pandava brothers. As we proceed on with Srimad Bhagavatam, we also see how Krishna is very empathic. When he goes to Sandipani Muni's ashram, for example, again, same thing. She has lost a son, and she, when he inquires what is it that he could offer, then she requests that if I can get my son back. And Krishna and Balaram, they embark this journey to retrieve the son of Sandipani Muni and bring him back to the mother. Later, Devaki also makes a similar request, and she tells Krishna that, Krishna, I've lost 6 of my sons. Can you please, just like you retrieved the son of Sandipani Muni, can you also please bring my sons back? And Krishna, he immediately, he brings these 6 sons of Devaki, and then she feeds them with her breast milk. And it is described that because that breast milk had been actually already offered to Krishna, so that was prasadam, which actually liberated these 6 sons. So we see Krishna's protection, we see Krishna's empathy. We also see how graciously, it's something that has always impressed me and melted my own heart, when I see how Krishna actually accepted the curse of Gandhari, who was grieving for her 100 sons who had all died in this terrible battle of Kurukshetra. And so when Krishna finally goes to console Gandhari is inconsolable. And so she actually gets very angry. And in her grief-stricken state, she actually curses Krishna. And she says that just like, my entire dynasty has been destroyed, your dynasty will also meet the same fate. And Krishna very graciously, he accepts that. In all of these different pastimes, as we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we again and again, we see Krishna's relationship. Of course, how can we not talk about Krishna's very, very special, the most special relationship with Mother Yashoda, right? Where Mother Yashoda runs after Krishna with a stick, right? And Krishna is so afraid, and he starts to cry, seeing the stick in Mother Yashoda's hand. And even though the Sudarshan Chakra can kill any demon, but Krishna, it is described that he, from whom fear personified, is afraid of Krishna. Krishna himself is afraid of this tiny little stick. So Krishna's relationship with Mother Yashoda, and then just lately I've been reading Krishna book and just really finding the sweetness of how Krishna expands into these unlimited calves and cowherd boys so that he can satisfy the hearts of all of these different mothers in Vrindavan and be their beloved. So as a woman, as a mother, when I read all of these different interactions of Krishna with the mothers, I feel great hope, because as all of us who have gone through this journey of trying to raise children, there are many times where, just like Uttara, we call out with our hands up in the air and we say, Krishna, please protect us. Please protect my son. Please protect my child. And so as I was thinking about, this very special relationship, I started to think about how is it that Krishna has, of course, he's the Supreme Lord, right? He's the master. He says that I am the master of the 3 worlds, and he's the most powerful entity, and he's the source. He says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. He says, I'm the source of everything. And yet he has the heart of a mother. So as I was thinking about it, I thought, yeah, because he is the supreme mother. He is, and he says that in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Um, he says, Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara rik sama yajur evacha. So this is from 9th chapter, 17th verse, where he says that I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. So he's saying here that he is actually the mother of this entire universe. And so, how is that? And what does that mean? And how do we unpack this a little bit more so we can develop a deeper appreciation? Because mother means heart. So, by understanding Krishna as a mother, we're actually understanding the heart of Krishna. So, again, just in my reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, we, like I said, been reading about Lord Brahma's bewilderment, Brahma Vimohan Leela, right? So in that section, Lord Brahma prays to Krishna, and he says that actually, just like a mother never takes offense, even if a baby in the womb, when a baby is, in the womb, sometimes the baby kicks. And so, but the mother never takes offense because the mother sees the baby as part of herself. So in the same way, Lord Brahma says that I am also like a little child in your womb, Krishna. And just like we understand, right, that how when Krishna shows the universal form, everything is contained within Krishna. So we are actually in the womb of Krishna. And Lord Brahma says that just like that, you please excuse my own fault and my own offenses that I have committed against you. So I was thinking about that what does it mean to be in the womb of Krishna? It means that just like a child, when he is in the womb of the mother, then all his nourishment is actually met by the mother's body, right? So we are personally nourished, we are personally fed, we are personally taken care of, we are personally protected by the mother. And the sounds we hear, I've just been doing some research on sound and chanting and stuff like that, especially sound. And I was just intrigued by this point that how they did an experiment and they found that when they put a little microphone, actually, like a little, instrument inside the mother's womb to capture all the sounds that a baby hears while it's in the womb, and they figured out that actually the sound, the sounds that a baby hears while it's in the womb is like the gushing of the mother's blood and the sound of the mother's voice and so on and so forth. So it's such an intimate relationship. So I was just thinking about that when a baby is in the womb of a mother and when it comes out, it actually recognizes the sound of the mother. And it is described that sound is actually very healing for the mother, for the child. So in the same way, when, we are in this world here and we are actually, without realizing, we're constantly surrounded by this vibration of Krishna, right? By the sound of Krishna. And especially, when it comes to, and no wonder that when we read Bhagavad Gita, for example, which is the sound of Krishna, right? Which is the voice of Krishna, then we experience such great relief. We experience such great healing within our heart, because just like a baby is pacified by hearing the sound of the mother, we are also pacified by hearing the sound of Krishna. We may not even know what Krishna, just like when a baby is in the womb of the mother, he may not know what the mother looks like. He's being carried in this womb. All he can hear is the sound of the mother, right? He can hear that the mother is talking and maybe even speaking to the baby in the womb, and that actually pacifies the child. So in the same way, at this point, we may not have an understanding of Krishna and see him and experience him as a person in that way, but at least when we hear his sound, then that is immediately, it creates a sense of healing for us within our heart. Also, as I was thinking more about this idea of a mother and how, I remember when Nimai was very, very little, he was practically an infant, and we had actually gone to the Potomac Temple, and I had sort of wandered away from the temple, and my husband was there, and my husband's grandparents were visiting. And so somehow he started to cry. and he was crying and crying and crying, and they kept trying to pacify him. Sometimes my grandmother-in-law, sometimes my grandfather-in-law, sometimes even Lokadaksha, but he was completely inconsolable. Nothing could pacify him. And then somehow I found my way back to the temple, and then they immediately said, oh my goodness, take him, he's just crying so much. And I distinctly remember that incident, because as soon as I took him in my arms, he was completely quiet. And I remember my grandmother-in-law saying that a child always recognizes the mother, and no one else can actually pacify the child when the child is crying like that. So in the same way, I was reflecting on that, and I was thinking that in the same way, we're also like these crying babies, right? We're crying in this world, and we are being given different things that, maybe this will help you. Maybe here, let me hold you for some time. Let me take care of you. But in reality, nothing pacifies our crying. Nothing really wipes away those tears that we have. It's only when we finally find the embrace of Krishna, right? When we find that mother's embrace, that's when we feel that our tears are pacified. It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that the tears that are shed by a living entity in the course of his entire journey in this material world can actually fill up an ocean. One of the names of Durga Devi is Rudrani, which means one who makes the living entities cry. So we are all like this crying baby who are just crying for our mother. And Krishna is that mother that we have somehow been separated from. So there is, so the Bhagavad Gita is a call. The Bhagavad Gita is a call to us to reconnect with that mother, recognizing our deepest need. There's so many more thoughts. I've just been thinking about Krishna as a mother. Of course, a mother feeds, a mother feeds. And whenever, this is a classic example, right? When a child is leaving home, then the mother starts to pack food for the baby, for the child who's no longer a baby, but starts to pack food for the grown-up child. And from a mother's perspective, she wants to give him everything that he might possibly need. And the child keeps saying, no, I don't need this. I'll be okay. But the mother says, no, you might need this. What if this happens? Then you may need this as well. That is the nature of a mother. So Krishna is also like that Krishna, he's provided this whole world, with so many varieties. That always amazes me, that on the one hand, we understand that this material world is not our true home. But at the same time, Krishna has given us varieties of mangoes, varieties of apples, varieties of all kinds of fruits and vegetables and minerals and anything and everything that we might need as we have stepped away or gone away from our eternal home. So that is the heart of a mother. Another quality of a mother is that two qualities. One, and they're both connected. One is that a mother becomes very easily pleased, very easily pleased, and she remembers. She remembers the first time, the words that were spoken by her child. She remembers the scribble scrabble, right, that a child draws on this paper, and it's just like this, like nobody else will think it's a piece of art, but for the mother, it's the greatest piece of art. And she will go and she'll put it on her fridge, and she will just feel so full, and she'll think, Mom, my son, or my daughter, such a great artist, right? There's a word for that. There's an example that, mother who has a blind child will name her child Padma Lochana. Padma Lochana means lotus eye. So for a mother, even that little scribble scrabble that a child will do, which is so imperfect, becomes an object of great happiness. And we see that with Krishna also. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo me bhakta prachiti, that if someone gives to me just a flower or a fruit or some water or some leaf with devotion, then I'll accept it. And not just that he accepts it, but he actually takes it, and he's completely he's so appreciative, and he's so grateful, and he's so happy to receive that little offering of love from us. So that is one part of motherhood, right? That, I'm perhaps not that kind of a mother, but I know plenty of mothers who will save every little thing that the child ever, did or had, and they have a little box and they'll put everything there. So it's the heart of a mother that, she always remembers. So in the same way, Krishna also remembers. Krishna remembers every single thing we have ever done for him. Prabhupada actually says that, he says that Krishna never forgets. He says that Krishna is not an ingrate. He says that if someone comes, and even if they perform the smallest service in Krishna's temple, then Krishna remembers that forever. And he magnifies that. So for countless lifetime, whatever we have done, Krishna always remembers that. And we may have forgotten it, but he doesn't. Also, he remembers our desires. So in every lifetime, we have so many desires and we may forget it, but Krishna remembers all those desires. The other aspect of Krishna's motherhood is that he always excuses the child. And he takes the essence. It's a very funny thing, but sometimes I was talking to a cousin of mine, and I was saying that how mothers have this unique ability that even if the child does something wrong, then the mother will simply say, oh, no, the child must have done this because maybe he was hungry. Oh, he hasn't had proper sleep. That's why he's so cranky today, right? So mother always finds a way to say, well, really the child is actually a wonderful person, but it's just because, of this. So that is the heart of a mother. And Krishna also has that quality. He is Bhavagrahi Janardana, which means that he ignores or neglects all our misdoings and he accepts the essence, just like Putana. Putana comes to kill Krishna, and she has her breast smeared with poison, and she has her breast smeared with poison, and because she wants to kill Krishna. But what does Krishna take? Krishna just accepts her mood as a mother and says, no, she actually came to feed me and be my mother. So that is the mood of Krishna as a mother. So we see we could go on and on and on. So I just wanted to finish off by saying that how Krishna, so in spite of all of this, we as this rebellious children, we have walked away from Krishna, right? And we tell our mother, our supreme mother, leave me alone. I need my freedom. I need my independence. I'm out of here. So Krishna says, all right, I'll simply hide in your heart as Paramatma, and you won't be able to see me, but I'll still take care of everything for you. So I just really love this little poem. This is a poem that many of us have probably read to our children when they were young. And I just want to read that quickly and then end it with that. So this is a runaway bunny. And it says that once there was a little bunny who wanted to run away. So he said to his mother, I am running away. This was his first mistake. If you run away, said his mother, I will run after you. So he says, if you run after me, I will become a fish in a trout stream. So then the mother says, if you become a fish in a trout stream, I will become a fisherman and I will fish for you. So then the bunny says, if you become a fisherman, I'll become a rock on the mountain. Then the mother says, if you become a rock, I will become a mountain climber. So then she says, if you become a mountain climber, I'll be a crocus in a hidden garden. So mother says, if you become a crocus, I will be a gardener and I will find you. And then it goes on and says that if you go flying on and then the child says, if I'll go flying on a flying trapeze. And then the mother says, if you do that, I will become a tightrope walker and I'll walk across the air and I'll come and I'll rescue you. And it goes on and on like that. So the point being that Krishna is always there, our Paramatma, someone who's always trying to save us, who's trying to rescue us from this material world, even though we are running away. And so our role in this whole thing is, I just wanted to end with this little thing that I read, which really made an impact on my heart, which is that when a child is actually born, what happens is that when the baby is actually delivered, the child actually leaves a part of himself or herself. Some cells are actually left behind. And those cells actually are a gift back to the mother. and it helps the mother, especially if the mother is going through some disease. Then those cells actually come and they act as in helping her heal. So in the same way, even though Krishna is the greatest and we are in his womb and everything is given by him, but we have something within us that we can offer to Krishna, and that actually can help relieve Krishna's anxiety. And that something is our love, our gratitude, our attention. So by offering that back to Krishna, we can actually reestablish this very lost and very loving relationship.